Hey guys, tonight we're walking into one of those moments that starts out as nothing. Just a tired afternoon, a park, some dust in the air, but ends up changing everything. Imagine a humid day in the city, the kind where the heat seems to settle on your shoulders like wet cloth. Motorbikes weave through traffic, vendors shout over car horns, and tired feet shuffle along cracked sidewalks. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And tell me where you're watching from, your location and your local time. I want to know where in the world we're meeting tonight. Now picture this, you're a young woman. You've just left another job interview, your third this week, your 14th this month. Your folder of certificates is smudged at the edges, your shoes are worn. You've used the last of your transport money and had to walk 2 bus stops to get there. The receptionist barely looked at you. The HR lady gave a half smile when she asked about relevant experience, and the manager didn't hide his sigh when he read your resume. You thanked them anyway. You always do. And now you're walking home, avoiding puddles and potholes, already calculating what to eat tonight with the little you have left. The streets grow quieter as you reach the older part of town, where the houses shrink and the trees grow wild. That's when you hear it. Soft crying. You pause, look around. There by the park bench, just under the bougainvillea tree, is a small boy. Maybe 6 or 7. His uniform shirt is half tucked, one sock missing, and tears streak down his cheeks like ink on paper. You hesitate. You're not sure if you should get involved. These days people don't trust strangers easily. But something about the boy, his small frame, the way his shoulders shake silently, makes you step closer. Hey, you say gently, what's wrong? He looks up startled. Big eyes, round face. He wipes at his tears quickly but doesn't speak. You sit on the edge of the bench, keeping your distance. Are you lost? He nods. Where do you live? He shrugs. You glance at the street. No one seems to be looking for a child. No frantic parents, no security guards. What's your name, you ask? He whispers, Timmy. You smile, trying to make it warm. Timmy, it's okay. I'm not here to hurt you. Can you tell me what happened? He sniffs. The driver forgot me. Driver und Distriktverführer. He nods. From school. They were supposed to pick me. You glance at his uniform again. It's from one of those expensive private schools you've only ever seen from outside the gate. Do you have your dad's number? He shakes his head. He said I should learn it, but I forgot. You pause. No phone, no money, no adult in sight. You should probably find a police post. Or wait. But the sun is starting to set and this neighborhood changes after dark. You can't just leave him here. And truth be told, you wouldn't be able to sleep tonight if you did. All right, you say, rising slowly. Let's figure this out together. He slips his hand into yours. And just like that, 2 strangers become a pair. You don't have much. Not even enough for a proper meal tonight. But you do have one thing, a sense of responsibility. So you start walking, leading him through the streets like he's your little brother. He doesn't say much, just follows. He trusts you. You can feel it in the way he holds your hand a little tighter whenever a car honks too loud or a dog barks too close. Eventually, you find a security guard who recognizes the school logo and makes a call. 10 minutes later, a sleek black SUV rolls up to the curb. A man in a suit jumps out, panic all over his face. He rushes to Timmy, drops to his knees, and holds the boy tight. You stand aside, unsure what to do. Then the man looks up at you. His eyes are sharp, intense, but not unkind. You found him. You nod slowly. He rises, straightens his shirt, and walks over. He doesn't offer money. He doesn't make a show. Just holds out his hand and says, "Thank you. Truly." You take it. He watches you for a second longer, as if trying to place your face. But you're just a girl in old shoes and a tired blouse. So he nods again, ushers Timmy into the car, and drives away. Just like that. You turn, adjust your folder under your arm, and walk the rest of the way home. What you don't know, what you couldn't possibly know, is that the man you just spoke to is Mr. Adewale Bako, the CEO of a major tech firm. The same firm you applied to, the same firm where your resume is sitting in a dusty HR inbox, unread and unremarkable. And the boy you held by the hand, he won't stop talking about you the moment he gets home. He'll call you the angel in brown shoes. And his father, the CEO, who has seen hundreds of resumes cross his desk, will hear that name, and he'll remember your face. But for now, you just walk home with sore feet and an empty stomach, not knowing the door you've just opened, by leading a small boy out of the shadows. You don't sleep much that night. There's nothing new about that. Most nights you lie awake staring at the ceiling of your small shared room, listening to the distant hum of generators and the occasional shout from the street. You replay the interview in your head, wonder what you could have said better, how you might have smiled more, sounded more confident. But tonight it's not just the interview, it's the boy. Timmy, his small hand in yours, his nervous glances, the way he clung tighter when a dog barked too loud, the way he looked up at you like you were safety. You wonder if he's all right now, if his driver got fired, if his father scolded him or hugged him again. You wonder if they even remember you. Of course you don't expect anything to come of it. Good deeds aren't always rewarded, especially not for girls like you, but still you wonder. The next morning, the heat wakes you early. There's no electricity and the fan sits still useless. You get up, brush your teeth with water from the plastic drum, tie your scarf tight, and start your usual job hunt routine, checking your phone for messages, scanning job boards, rewriting your cover letter for the millionth time. Still no reply from the big company you applied to last week. Bakotech, you sigh and push your hopes back down. You've learned not to chase after what isn't chasing you. By noon, your stomach is growling, but you ignore it. You take a walk, stopping at a roadside buka to buy 200 worth of rice and stew. You sit on the bench outside, eating slowly, watching life pass by. That's when your phone buzzes. An unknown number. You almost ignore it, but something nudges you to answer. Hello? A deep voice replies, calm, measured. Good afternoon. Am I speaking to Miss Amaka? Yes, you say, cautious. This is Mr. Adewalabako. You freeze. The name echoes inside your head like a dropped spoon in an empty pot. I believe you helped my son yesterday. Your heart skips. Oh yes, I mean I didn't do much, You did enough, he interrupts. He won't stop talking about you. You smile nervous, he's a very sweet boy. There's a pause. Miss Amaka, I understand you submitted an application to Bakotech. Your breath catches, yes sir. Are you available for an interview tomorrow morning? You blink. Sorry sir, another interview. Yes, he says. I'd like to meet with you personally. Your mouth is dry, yes, I'm available. 8 a.m. sharp, ask for my office directly. Yes sir, thank you. Thank you so much. He ends the call without fanfare. You sit there, your plastic spoon halfway to your mouth, the stew already cold. People pass by uninterested. No one knows your heart is thudding so hard it feels like it might crack your ribs open. You get home, iron your best blouse again, polish your shoes again, reread your resume again. You don't sleep that night either. But this time it's not dread keeping you up. It's possibility. The next morning you leave at 6:30 a.m., arrive at the building by 7:45. The receptionist greets you politely. You give your name. She checks her list, picks up the phone, then nods. Please go to the top floor. They're expecting you. The elevator ride feels eternal. The building is sleek modern glass and steel humming with quiet power. When you step onto the top floor, the air changes. Cooler, more expensive. You follow signs until you find a frosted glass door with gold lettering Adewale Bako, CEO. You knock once. Come in, says a voice from within. You push the door open slowly. Mr. Bako is seated behind a massive desk. He's dressed in a simple shirt and slacks, no tie, no jacket. But there's something about him, an energy, a presence that fills the room without needing to announce itself. Good morning, Miss Amaka, he says, gesturing to the chair across from him. Good morning, sir, you reply, sitting carefully, clutching your folder. He studies you for a moment, not unkindly, just thoroughly. My son said you told him a story about your shoes. You blink, then remember, yes, Timmy had asked why your shoes looked so old. You told him they were graduate shoes, the pair you wore on graduation day and on every job hunt since. You smile faintly, yes, sir. He said you made him feel safe. I just didn't want to leave him alone, you say. He nods slowly. Do you know how many people walked past him that day? You shake your head. 13, he says. 13 adults, 1 security guard, 2 teachers, and not one of them stopped. He leans back. You were the only one who did. You don't know what to say to that, so you say nothing. He taps his pen once on the desk. I read your resume, he says. You're underexperienced, but you're not unqualified. You nod slowly. He stands. I'll be honest, I'm not offering you the position you applied for. Your stomach drops. But he continues, walking to the window. I am offering you a job. You look up. In my office, personal assistant. It's not glamorous, it's not high paying, but it's a foot in. You'll learn everything. You try to speak, but nothing comes out. Are you interested? You nod vigorously. Yes, sir, absolutely, yes. Good, he says, you start Monday. You leave the office in a daze. On the elevator ride down, your reflection stares back at you. Same blouse, same shoes, but something's changed. For the first time in a long time, the weight of rejection doesn't sit on your shoulders. Instead, there's something else there now. Hope. All because you stopped to help a crying child on the side of the road. The weekend floats by in a haze of cautious joy. You don't tell too many people not yet. Not because you're hiding it, but because part of you still isn't sure it's real. You replay that meeting in your head like a movie scene. Mr. Baco's voice. The way he said, "You'll learn everything." The weight of that promise settles into your bones not as a burden, but as motivation. Monday morning comes. You wake before dawn, press your uniform flat with a borrowed iron, and shine your graduate shoes until they look a little less tired. You arrive at the company's gates too early. The guards nod and let you in. This time the receptionist doesn't blink when you say your name. She smiles. You take the elevator again up to the top floor, but now you're no longer a stranger. The office assistant greets you by name and leads you to a smaller desk just outside Mr. Baco's office. It's your desk now. There's a second-hand computer, a drawer with your name written on tape, and a starter binder labeled onboarding. Your role is simple emails, scheduling coffee, keeping things in order. But the more time you spend in that quiet hallway outside his glass-walled office, the more you learn. You listen when he takes meetings. You note how he phrases rejections, how he offers advice, how he pauses before tough decisions. You start understanding what real leadership looks like. Not loud, not ruthless, but razor sharp and steady. On your third day, you notice something strange. His son Timmy arrives after school. Not just once, but almost every day. And every time he comes, he bypasses everyone and walks straight to your desk. "Hi," he says, grinning wide. "Can I sit with you again?" You glance toward Mr. Baco's office. "Only if you do your homework," you reply, half teasing. Timmy nods, pulls out his backpack, and gets to work beside you. And so it becomes a routine. You teach him multiplication. He draws pictures of you with superhero capes. You help him pronounce big words. He brings you sweets he sneaks from his lunchbox. The office staff begins to notice. They tease you lightly, his new best friend, but always with warmth. One Friday afternoon, as you're closing up, Mr. Baco calls you into his office. You brace yourself. He gestures to a seat, then taps his desk. Timmy hasn't bonded with anyone like this since his mother died. You blink. "I'm sorry, sir. I didn't know." He waves a hand. "It's not something we share, but he talks about you like you're his big sister." You smile softly. He continues. "He's been different since that day. Calmer, happier. You helped him. You're still helping him." You sit straighter, unsure where this is going. "I want to give you more responsibility," he says. "There's a new mentorship program we're starting, designed to help fresh graduates transition into tech. I want you to lead it." Your eyes widen. "Me?" "Yes," he says plainly. "But sir, I'm not even in tech. I'm not a manager. You're someone who didn't walk past a child in need," he interrupts. "You're someone who shows up every single day, asks questions, and listens. I can teach skills. I can't teach heart." You don't answer right away. The gravity of his words wraps around you like a blanket. "Will you do it?" he asks again. You nod slowly. "Yes, sir. I'd be honored." The following week, you're in charge of your first meeting. 5 new recruits, all graduates, all jobless, all a little like you just a month ago. You stand in front of them, your voice shaking slightly as you introduce the program. You guide them through the basics, company values, tech tools, how to pitch ideas, how to deal with setbacks. You're not perfect. You stumble sometimes, but you're real, and that's what they cling to. You tell them your story, not in full, but just enough. The bus stops, the interviews, the shoes, and the crying boy who changed everything. And when you see the light in their eyes, that quiet flicker of hope, you realize something else. You're not just leading them. You're becoming someone you never thought you could be. One evening after a long day, you find a note tucked into your desk drawer. The handwriting is messy and it's written on the back of a snack wrapper. It reads, "Thank you for seeing me when I felt invisible. Kelechi." You smile. You don't know which one of the mentees wrote it, but it doesn't matter. You tuck it into your notebook and keep going. Because now you know even the smallest act of kindness can echo louder than any resume. Even the smallest hand held in the street can pull you forward into a future you didn't dare to dream. Your desk becomes more than just a desk. It becomes a beacon. People start stopping by, not just interns and mentees, but mid-level staff, even executives asking for help, advice, or just to talk. It's subtle at first. A question here, a favor there. But slowly you realize they're not coming because you're important. They're coming because you listen. It's strange being visible. For so long, you were the invisible one in waiting rooms, on long walks home, in the back rows of job seminars. Now you speak in meetings and heads turn, not out of shock, but respect. But not everyone is pleased. You notice it in the glances, the way a certain senior assistant always corrects you in front of others, the way someone from HR accidentally forgets to add your name to the mentorship schedule. Small things, petty, quiet attempts to shrink you. You don't rise to it. You stay the course, you work harder, you lift others, you keep showing up. And people notice. One afternoon, you're helping Timmy with his reading when a woman walks into the office. She's elegant, sharp-heeled, and polished from head to toe. You recognize her from the company newsletter. She's the VP of Public Affairs. A big deal. She watches you for a moment, then says, "You're a Maka." You stand quickly. "Yes, ma'am." She nods. "I've heard a lot about you." "Good things." You smile, unsure of what to say. She continues, "I'm heading a new social impact initiative. Something outside the building. Outreach to schools and orphanages. I'd like you to join the steering team." You blink. "Me?" She smiles. "You. You're the heart of the company right now. People follow heart." You accept. Of course you do. And suddenly your days are fuller. Mornings in the office. Afternoons in meetings. Weekends visiting local schools, helping them upgrade their computer labs, giving talks to students who remind you too much of yourself, bright, overlooked, eager. But then the balance starts to shift. One Monday morning, Mr. Bacco calls you in. You walk into his office and he's not alone. A man you don't recognize stands beside him, holding a leather folder and wearing a frown. "This is Mr. Afalabi," Mr. Bacco says, "our external auditor." You nod politely. "There's a concern," the auditor says, flipping through his folder. "About favoritism in hiring." Your heart stutters. Some believe you were hired through a personal connection, that your relationship with the CEO's son gave you special access. You look at Mr. Bacco, who remains expressionless. "I understand," you say slowly, "why that might look bad. But I didn't know who Timmy was when I helped him. I wasn't looking for anything. I never." "We know," Mr. Bacco says, interrupting gently. "I just needed to hear how you'd respond." The auditor closes the folder. "You've handled everything with professionalism," he says. "You'll be mentioned in the report as an example of how personal integrity can benefit corporate culture." Your breath catches. It wasn't a warning. It was a test. You leave the office shaking slightly but proud. Still, the whispers don't stop. The senior assistant starts calling you teacher in meetings sarcastically. A junior manager accuses you of using your friendship with the boss's son as a stepping stone. One afternoon, you overhear someone say, "She's only here because she played babysitter." It hurts, of course it does. You go home that night and cry into your pillow, muffling the sound so your roommates won't hear. But the next morning you wake up, wash your face, and return to work. Because you know who you are. Because Timmy still runs into your arms after school. Because the mentees still look at you like you're the proof that kindness matters. One evening you stay late. The office is quiet. Most people are gone. You're organizing files when Timmy wanders in, clutching a drawing. "It's you," he says, holding up the paper. "You're standing on a mountain." You smile. "A mountain." He nods. "Because you help people climb." You take the paper and your hands tremble slightly. Later that night, as you walk to the bus stop, the stars are out. And you realize there's no title big enough to explain what you've become. You're not just a graduate anymore. Not just an assistant. Not just the girl who helped the CEO's son. You are someone who changed your own story one act of kindness at a time. And that can never be undone. You've been working at the company for 6 months now. And in that time, the landscape around you has shifted like sand, slowly forming new ground under your feet. You started at a corner desk with worn shoes and quiet nerves, and now you sit in strategy meetings with managers speaking not as an outsider, but as a voice that matters. The mentorship program has grown under your watch. What began as a small group of 5 has expanded to 25. Some are coders, some designers, some still unsure, but all of them carry the same story: overlooked, underestimated, passed by. And you're the reason they stayed. But with growth comes friction. One afternoon during a planning session, a senior executive raises his hand and says, "Shouldn't we hand this over to someone more qualified? Amaka is doing well, yes, but she's not exactly trained in management." You pause. The room stills. You want to defend yourself, but before you can, someone else speaks up. "She built this," says another department head, "from nothing." And last quarter mentee retention rose by 60%. That's not a fluke. The executive frowns but doesn't argue. You say nothing, just nod and keep moving. But that night it lingers. The way he said it more qualified, as if kindness and work ethic don't qualify as much as degrees and jargon. You wonder if they'll always see you as the girl from the street. The next morning you arrive early. You open the training room, arrange chairs, wipe the whiteboard. One of the new mentees, Fatima, fresh out of NYSC, walks in. "You're still the one setting up?" she asks. You smile. "Why not?" She shrugs. "Just thought you'd have people for that now." You look at her. "I don't ever want to forget what it's like to walk in late hoping the chairs haven't all been taken." Fatima smiles. You can tell she understands. Later that week, Mr. Bacco calls you into his office. You sit down, hands folded, wondering what now. He clears his throat. "There's a leadership opening in our new outreach division." Your heart jumps. It's not just internal. You'll be dealing with community programs, partnerships, schools. You nod slowly. "That sounds like something I love." "I already know," he says, "but I didn't want to offer it to you quietly. We're posting the position. You'll compete like everyone else." You feel a wave of gratitude at his fairness, but also nerves. You know others in the company won't take it well. You submit your application anyway. The interviews begin, and with them the whispers. She's not qualified. She's too young, too close to the boss. They talk, but you prepare. You review reports, read proposals, stay late practicing your pitch. You don't try to impress with big words, you just speak clearly, truthfully. On the final day, you walk into the interview room and recognize every face. HR heads, department leads, even the VP who invited you to the steering team. But this time you don't shrink. They ask about metrics. You give them numbers. They ask about scaling. You offer strategies. They ask about challenges. You pause and say, "My biggest challenge wasn't managing people. It was being seen, being taken seriously, being trusted not because of who I knew, but because of how I showed up every single day." Silence. Then a nod. Then another. 3 days later, the email comes. "Congratulations. You've been selected as the new community engagement lead." Your breath catches. You stare at the screen for a long moment, letting it sink in. You walk into your next meeting not just as Amaka the assistant, but as Amaka the leader. The girl who once walked a crying child home. The woman who now leads entire teams with the same heart. Still, the resistance doesn't disappear. Some colleagues avoid you. One openly accuses you of playing the teamy card. You don't argue. You just work, because time tells the truth. And one by one, people begin to see. They see it in your team's success, in the students you help, in the stories that begin to ripple out from dusty classrooms and overfilled orphanages. A new school lab you helped build, a young coder who landed her first freelance contract, a teenage boy who used to steal bread now designing posters for NGOs. You go home one evening, and as you wash your hands in your tiny sink, you look in the mirror. You see your tired eyes, your calloused hands, your still humble clothes. But you also see someone new, someone who didn't wait for permission to be valuable, someone who turned a moment of kindness into a lifetime of impact. And you smile not because the work is done, but because you know it's only beginning. Months pass, and the program you lead becomes one of the company's most talked about initiatives. Internally, it shifts the culture. Externally, it earns praise from government officials, educators, and even competitors. But you don't think about the headlines. You think about the girl who showed up every day in borrowed clothes, hoping someone would read her resume. That girl still lives inside you, and she still guides your choices. One morning, while reviewing partnership reports, you receive an email titled CEO Roundtable Invitation, National Youth Empowerment Forum. You read it 3 times before it sinks in. They're not just asking Bacotech to send someone, they're asking you to speak. As a leader, as a success story, as a voice of lived truth. You forward the email to Mr. Bacco with a humble note, unsure what he'll say. His reply is swift and brief. "No one better to represent us." The forum takes place in a massive hall filled with press and industry leaders. You sit backstage, palms sweating, heart racing. You're not used to the spotlight. Not like this. But then you remember Timmy's drawing, the one where you're standing on a mountain helping others climb, and it steadies you. When it's your turn, you walk onto the stage, you breathe deep, and then you speak. Not like a rehearsed executive, like a Maka. Like the girl who carried her graduate shoes through endless rejections. Like the stranger who knelt beside a crying child. Like the woman who never forgot how powerful kindness can be when no one's watching. You talk about second chances, about how the corporate world must stop hiring only those who fit the mold, about how excellence doesn't always wear suits. Sometimes it wears dust. The room goes quiet. Then applause, real, long, echoing. After the event, people line up to meet you. Young women tell you you've made them believe again. One boy presses a folded note into your hand, whispering, "Thank you." I needed to hear that. Later that night, when you open the note, it reads, "I've been rejected 17 times. Today, I feel like trying again." You fold the note gently and slide it into your journal. At the office, a new desk is built. Your own space, your own nameplate. You're not outside the CEO's office anymore. You've earned your own place. But you keep one thing the same: your chair always faces the door. Because you want to see who's arriving, who needs help, who might be the next you. One Tuesday afternoon, a young applicant shows up late for her interview. Her blouse is wrinkled. Her eyes are red. She apologizes too much. The panel is unimpressed. They're about to dismiss her when you ask if you can speak with her alone. Outside, she nearly cries. "I've been trying so hard. I know I didn't come across well." You smile, and for the first time in a while, you see it from the other side. You're not being judged for your potential, you say gently. You're being judged for how nervous you are right now. "I've been there." She nods, unable to speak. You ask her a few real questions about what drives her, what she dreams of, what she's done with nothing. And in her answers, you hear echoes of yourself. You return to the panel and speak quietly. "I think we'd be lucky to have her." They listen. She's hired. That night, she sends you a message: "Thank you for seeing me." And once again, those 5 words wrap around you like a warm cloth. In the weeks that follow, you begin training her personally. You notice how fast she learns, how kind she is to the cleaning staff, how she always brings an extra biscuit in case someone forgot lunch. One evening, as you pack up to leave, you notice her staring at your shoes. They're still the same ones, worn smooth, the stitching frayed, but they're clean, cared for. "Why don't you get new shoes?" she asks softly. You look down, then smile. "Because these remind me how far I've come." She nods, not asking again. At home, you sit by the window. The city hums softly outside, and you think of everything: the sidewalk where you found Timmy, the email that changed your life, the desk you sit behind now. You think about how kindness often feels small at first, unseen, unrewarded, but over time it builds, quietly, unshakably, like a bridge, like a mountain, like a legacy. So now let your mind slow. Breathe in the quiet of a soft evening wherever you are. Picture a young woman walking the dusty streets of her city, her folder clutched tightly, her heart bruised from one too many rejections. She doesn't know that her greatest opportunity isn't waiting behind a reception desk or inside a boardroom. It's sitting on a bench crying with untied shoelaces and big brown eyes. She stops, she kneels. She chooses compassion over convenience. And in that small, simple moment, her story changes forever. That's what I want you to take with you tonight. Not just the memory of Amaka's rise, but the message at the heart of it. Kindness is never wasted. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't need reward. It needs only to be given freely. Because someday, somewhere, when you least expect it, that kindness will return to you bigger, louder, brighter. It may come as a new chance, or a quiet nod of respect, or a little boy who remembers your name. So as your head sinks into your pillow tonight, let that thought stay with you. You don't need to be powerful to be important. You just need to keep choosing good even when no one's watching. And who knows, the very hand you hold today might be the door that opens tomorrow.